What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Fox Sound Finance, where we analyze the stock market using technical analysis. Please understand that I am not a financial advisor. Nothing in these videos is financial advice. Please do your own research and buy what you want to buy. Okay, it's been quite some time since I updated you guys. Been about like 2 months-ish again. So we have a lot to cover, guys. I feel like in this last 2 months, there's been so much news, so many things developing across the board, and I'm going to cover all of it. It's going to be probably my most lengthy video, but I'm promising you right now, it's all going to be crucial. It's all extremely relevant, and I think you got to be on a need to know basis with this stuff because it is important. I'm telling you right now, for what is being set up right before our very eyes. I'm going to cover everything and how it relates to our plays and even ones outside of ours, because everything pretty much in this basket is going to be affected. Okay. So I just want to drive that point very, very clearly. It's going to be absolutely essential. You're going to want to stick through this, and you're going to want to hear everything I got to share with you today. All right. So with that being said, let's dive into what I'm seeing here. All right. We'll go with the news because there's been a shit ton of news. All right. Probably too much news. And that's why this video is going to be quite long. But the last time we spoke, I think it was like September 20th or something, I uploaded. I was looking forward to the October FOMC meeting where they were discussing the interest rate cut, right? And we did get that. Powell and the Fed and the rest of them, they all voted on this. They passed the 25-point cut. And people are asking about this catalyst. What's it going to be? Is that going to be the thing? And I'm not looking at it this way. I'm looking at each thing as sort of each event, I should say, as a stepping stone in the right direction, creating this recipe that we need so that this can all explode, right? All these plays can finally be released, right? And start hitting these levels that I've been sharing with you guys for the last year now. So we got the cut, and obviously there was no November FOMC meeting or a rate cut. December, which obviously we are, this video today I'm recording is December 5th. And we are going to get another FOMC rate cut decision. All right. So is that going to be the one? No, I'm not really seeing it that way, but I do like how this is slowly getting pieced together. And the next bit of news is probably the most crucial because I think it is the biggest signal, which is the Fed ending the quantitative tightening cycle. Okay. So a quantitative tightening ending on 12/1, actually, like the very beginning of the month here. So why the hell does this even matter? What the hell is this like quantitative tightening bullshit all about, right? People are probably wondering, how does that impact all the plays that I'm talking about? And I'm going to read this to you real quick, all right? And you're going to need to hear this because this is probably the thing that's setting the stage right now, all right, behind the scenes. So the end of quantitative tightening is usually a bullish signal for markets, especially for higher risk assets and small cap stocks, okay? Here's why. When the Fed stops QT, it stops draining money from the financial system. Liquidity improves, and when there's more money available, investors are more willing to take risks. So, what is going to benefit first? High risk assets. More liquidity and lower borrowing costs make it easier for companies to refinance and grow. That boosts appetite for things like growth stocks, high yield bonds, even crypto. Next, you have your small cap market, okay? The IWM basket. Russell 2000. These companies are much more sensitive to interest rates. So when financing becomes cheaper, they feel the improvement quickly. Plus, they're currently trading at big discounts. Let me say that again. They're trading at big discounts compared to large caps, okay? Giving them room to run. So overall, ending QT, okay, and again, with QE, quantitative easing potentially beginning, means more liquidity, less financial pressure, and more risk taking, which is great news for high beta stocks, small caps, and crypto, okay? The last time I'm going to say it, they're trading at big discounts. Do you guys agree that all these fucking plays are absolute? They've been smashed down. I've been telling people before they say that there's going to be a bear market beginning. You can't really do that with the small cap stocks in the condition that they're in. They would be wiped out. I don't know how you could take a slow, steady decline bear market, right? With these already down 90%, some of them. Like some of it, like, 95% down. So that is something I wanted you to understand was the quantitative tightening ending and how that is now setting the stage for these to start running. The other side of that coin, like they said, is there's a rotation from, they juiced and maxed out a lot of the large cap stuff right now. So now they're seeing these stocks down 90%, 80%, and there is a huge potential to just jack them up and then, 6, 7, 8, 9x their money. That's what's going to happen. That's how I'm seeing it. You guys got a different opinion? Like I said, share it, comment down below. But that is a signal for me that our plays are about to finally go in that reversal direction. Okay. So the next point, I said in a couple of videos ago, might have been in a live stream. I said, everything from a fractal standpoint on these stocks, guys, looks good. It all looks right on point. You have the repeat, you have the patterns repeating, maybe slightly off, maybe slightly deviating, maybe even stretched out a little bit more, but nonetheless, it is there. Okay. I told you with this COVID cycle down here, right? You had this huge drop during COVID. Look at the knife down, look at the recovery. Then we went into the tariff crash right here, and then you had the V-shaped recovery. I believe we are somewhere here, guys, in the middle for the SPY right now and its development at the end of this cycle. And it's funny because now here we are, probably in the middle of the cycle, and then they're ending quantitative tightening. I don't know, for me, if that means we should be going into a long-term bear market. I just don't see how that makes sense. You just took away something that was draining money. Now more money is going to be coming into the market. So for me, I don't know. I digress. I feel like I made my point there, but I'm seeing the fractal line up. And then I did say this. I said, the only thing, and it's kind of a joke in a way, I said the only thing really missing though is like a stimulus check, because that's what everybody blamed retail for. And during the COVID saga, we all got those stimulus checks. We all became fucking overnight investors, I guess, right? Everybody was just buying stocks instead of toilet paper. Meanwhile, people were going crazy over toilet paper and supplies. But that was a big excuse. And then here we are now in 2025. I already showed you the 5-year pattern right here. Okay. And here we are today. And we are getting the same sort of blueprint. Now Trump is talking about these $2,000 tariff dividend checks. Okay. They're also talking about your income taxes being cut. They're basically setting the stage up to make an excuse that, well, everybody's taxes, they got more refunds, or everybody got a $2,000 tariff dividend check. That's why the market and retail and these stocks, they're cheaper. Retail's going to buy cheaper stocks. They're blaming us, guys. That's what they're doing. They're going to use the same bullshit tactics to fucking run these stocks up. Okay. But they just told you that the big investors are doing the same shit. Smart money, okay, quote unquote. They're doing the same shit. They're going to rotate out of the fucking big ones. They're going to go down into the little guys that they can run up, 1,000%, 2,000%. Okay. So there you go. You got that piece. You got the interest rates getting cut. You got the QT ending on 12/1. You now have this income tax. We're going to get more money back in our checks, I guess, at the end of the year for your taxes. And then you get the dividend potentially. They got all this up in the air right now that they're trying to formulate. And why the $2,000 thing really struck a bell in my mind, not just because of the COVID situation, but Trump was talking about the timing of it. He said, I think we're looking at mid-2026 ish to distribute these checks to, eligible Americans. Okay. And I was going, wait a fucking minute. I was like, there's got to be something else happening, right? In mid 2026. Well, Jerome Powell is departing from the Fed. His position is expiring. The contract is up. However you want to cut it. He's done in May 2026. And this guy Hassett now seems to be in line to replace Powell. And Hassett is pro-Trump policy with the rate cuts. And not just like quarter point cuts. Trump has talked about doing 200-point cuts, guys. 100-point cuts in that realm of things, not a quarter point cut. Talking a full 1-2% cut. All right. So when I tell you this now, with the roadmap out there from a news standpoint and policy standpoint, the roadmap is now designed for all of this shit to explode. And everybody that really thought maybe that this was the melt up, it's not. If I'm correct on this, this is nothing compared to what's coming. And I even remember, if you go back in my streams, I think in my last couple of videos, I was like projecting this percentage wise. I broke the percentage of this move from bottom to top of the COVID run. And I was like, God damn, this could be like fucking 800 on the SPY, like 750, high 700s, maybe 800, right? And that was freaking months and months ago. That's like 4 or 5 months ago I was saying that shit. And the funny thing about that is now UBS and the other big institutions are coming out saying, yeah, we're looking at SPY S&P 500 at 8,000 and, you know, SPY up to 800 or 750 plus. And I'm like, you can't, I'm telling you, you can't make this shit up, right? And I'm not saying the only fucking person that maybe made that prediction, because I was just looking at the actual structure part of it, okay? Now, before I go too deeper into a rant with that, it's just the point is the roadmap is set, the blueprint is there to get this baby going. Everything's going to start falling in line, I think, now that that heavy restriction from the Fed is gone. All right. And then you have Powell getting out of there and a guy coming into the position who's ready to just make moves, right? There's not going to be resistance for Trump to work against. So the entire 2026 slate looks ridiculous, right? Looks crazy. So last thing I wanted to talk about was the Michael Burry thing, just briefly, because it's really, to me, really nothing he's saying. I could give two shits about the behind the scenes bullshit about how fucking GameStop and this AMC stuff, everything all went down. It's more so the timing. I'm looking at the timing. I'm going, why now? And look at how, I mean, I know his hedge fund got shut down. We get that. That also happened. But I'm looking at the timing though, as we're just now hitting this all-time low bottom and we're reversing out of it. And here he comes now with this stuff. It's just the timing. I just wanted to reference it in conjunction with everything I just shared. It's just like one thing after another. They're setting the stage for this thing. So I've seen this happen and I see it on Twitter. And I'm like, wow, man, this is something he's talking about. He's going to do this story. I didn't even look into it really deeply on what more he said about it. But it was just the fact that he did all that, you know, I just said, man, this timing is just impeccable, you know, across the board. It's like they're all almost working together in a way. It's very odd. Maybe that is the case. Maybe I'm crazy. Anyways, that is it for the news. That's really the majority of stuff I want to cover. You could even talk about how the Ukraine situation was unfolding with Russia, but at this point, that's kind of dogged out now. I feel like that's just, it is what it is. You know, you know, whether that's going to be a catalyst or something, who knows? But at this point, guys, that's really the bulk of what I see impacting everything that I got laid out here. And now we're going to dive into the technical analysis part, okay? So now we're going to watch the technical part line up with everything I just said, okay? And how this is all going to make sense, all right? So jumping into the SPY real quick, I kind of just broke it down for you, all right? Ginormous, expanding megaphone type of pattern here, right? And you can see the levels that this has bounced on, right? At this point here, I think this was a resistance, right? Bonked its head, came down, support, V-shaped right past it. And then we've just been continuing to rip through this, right? You had a pullback right here. This was the market crash, right? I guess this was everybody saying that the market was done. It was over. 689 down to 651. What did I tell you guys in the last video? With the SPY, I said I was no longer expecting ginormous drops like this. Fuck it, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I do not care. I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing. I don't see us getting these massive discounts, guys, every 6 months. I don't think it's going to happen. The last big discount you got was during COVID, right here. After that, did you get ginormous discounts? You didn't. Look at these pullbacks in between. Oh, I'm sure somebody said this was the crash. I'm sure people thought this was a crash. I'm sure they thought this was a crash. But this is what I'm trying to explain to you. So without dogging this and beating a dead horse here, this is what I'm seeing is like there's going to be maybe 40, 50 point pullbacks. But in the grand scheme of things, when you're going up like this and this straight line trajectory, essentially, that's what I expect, right? I expect cooling periods, but I'm not expecting massive crashes back down to like this level here. I just don't see it, all right? Especially with everything I just shared with you. So that is the SPY. It's trending right back up. It's testing right now the most recent all-time high, 689.70, right? We're at 685 right now, so I'm recording this video. It's 3:57 Eastern Standard Time. All right, and look at it. It's just resting right here. So that's the SPY, man. It's just progressing in the way that I imagined it would. And when you break this high, I'm sure you're going to get another surge back up. But if you look at where I got this top part of the expanding like megaphone set up here, you can see, look at the top of this thing. What, 758? I don't know. It depends on how sideways it goes, but you know, 800, 750, it's all right there. If it continues in this pattern like this, I'm just going to draw a little trend line here and try to, let's just say it follows something like this. I mean, I would imagine you probably would reject right here. 784. Okay, ish. I think that if it follows this continued trajectory up, you're going to hit this and then you will collapse down, I think. And by then, I think that would be the end of the cycle, just like you did back here during COVID. Okay, you came all the way up, you touched the top of the ceiling multiple times, you tested it, you could not break it. And then you just broke down. And this was the bear market right here, guys. This is what I would be more concerned with, is when you get here, okay? Failing to reach new highs and then down. And then you have the slow uptrend, okay? So this entire sequence here over 2 years is more so what I would consider that's the end of the cycle, not a flash crash like this or like this, all right? I don't want to keep going on anymore with this because that's enough. Let's jump into probably the reason you're here, AMC. We look into this setup here. I'm going to go on the weekly first because this thing is just so compressed down. It's ridiculous. And I'm telling you right now, what I told you in the very beginning about the quantitative tightening ending, this one here, it's just screaming fucking discount. It's screaming absolute insane returns, okay? It's just, I mean, you see the gaps in the chart. You've seen what I showed you in previous videos. It is ridiculous. So on the weekly here, we're looking at the funnel that we've been stuck in up here since 555. And again, just downtrending, failing to break this line right here. I'm telling you, it's just been absolutely frustrating to see this come up and just get rejected every time. Every time. Right here, we came very close. This is what I was talking to you guys about in the last video. I was like, man, we're getting right here. If we break out, we could start really riding these levels. We did not. We broke down underneath the fucking thing again and went down to 205. And we finally found that bottom. Got a nice recovery here going sideways on the weekly. When we go down to even a more micro level to the daily, you could see it even better, right? You could just see how all these levels here have now turned into resistance, right? We have one support, guys. We have one support. And the one thing I was wrong about, I was like, we had all these green, right, up in here. I was like, nah, I was like, there's no way, right? We're not going to break down through all those levels. And sure enough, we fucking did. So maybe you could go inverse Fox here. But nonetheless, we found the bottom, it looks like. And now same freaking situation. We're trying to V-shape out of this thing, and we're like riding the line. This is telling you everything you need to know, right? Structure-wise. Riding this line, coming back up, have not yet gotten the green light to go yet. And I just told you, we're starting to get things, though, that are lining up for it to go. And I've been telling you this, guys, for the longest. In here, we could drive this all the way to here, right? You could essentially go all the way to the new year at the apex of this support and resistance meeting each other, right? You could go all the way down to this, right? They could get the candles and just sprinkle them in their small ranges all the way to the new year before a breakout to the upside, which I'm hoping is going to be this time to the upside based on the news I shared, or you break down to another new all-time low, which would be nutty. It's possible, though. It's possible that they may, with this policy changing, cut her down one more time. And on the indicators here, I was looking at the pivot points, right? And as I've been following this thing, I was like, all right, well, how absolutely low can it go? Well, it went 205. It bounced on support 2 back here, V-shaped out of it, but did not come up to the pivot line or R1 line, which would break you out of this consistent downtrend, right? This line here is heavy, heavy resistance. So as it's V-shaped out, it did not reach resistance 1, right? Which would have been 270 we needed, right? It's coming back down. So for me, it's going to bounce either here down and do a double bottom, and then maybe ride inside of this support and resistance here until we hit the apex, or you are going to find a new support, right? You're going to find a new low, which could be this S2, right? I would think if you're not going to get a higher low at this S1 right here at 212, and you don't bounce here and then break, then you'll probably either ride this new all-time low support, and if that does not hold, then you're looking at, guys, like 179, 180. All right, that's literally almost in line with COVID January 2021 during the COVID cycle. All right, literally almost similar lows, right? I think it was like $1.80, $1.90, and then that thing exploded to almost like $20. Okay, it was like a 10x move or something ish. So That's what I would be looking at long term with the pivot points, at least, where this could go down to. Okay, 180. S3 would be absolutely bonkers. It'd be 153. That'd be ridiculous if it got that low. But at the same time, are we really bitching about a 50-cent drop from even here? I mean, I'm not. Because at this point, I just showed you what's coming down the pipeline here in 2026. So if they want to pull a fast flash down and then break out, fine. But this is the space that we have to work with now, is inside of this little wedge here, okay? This could bounce around, guys, all the way into the new year before finally maybe being the end-all reversal of this entire down range, okay? And you just look at it and you see it from that angle, from the structure that I have it drawn up. You see the pivot point markers. We look at the EMAs. EMAs are all tightly wound. They're all in line with each other. It's almost like just waiting for this, green light to hit, and where this thing can just finally go, right? Because everything technical wise is lined up, okay? I don't want to draw this out too much with AMC because, again, we're not even there yet until I see us break this line. When I see that happen and we're starting to really ride these levels, guys, I'm telling you, the shit's on. The shit is on when you start bouncing on these levels steadily, all right? You might get a melt up right past all of them. Nonetheless, though, we need to break these previous highs right here. We need to ride these back up, and you have the EMAs in position to do so. RSI, not really a big deal because we did have all this selling pressure down here. So, yes, you did hit under 30 on the RSI, completely oversold. You bounced out now. Looks like she's trying to come back down again, which if you look at the pattern of the RSI and the stock here, like literally a one-to-one pattern, you can almost see that it almost like wants to come back down again to the 30 range, and you might get a double bottom and then a rip out. That's what I'm hoping for. All right, don't hold me to it. I'm hoping that if it does come back down, you might get another touch at 205, and then she goes. Okay, it would be in line with this breaking into the new year. All right, so we'll just have to see what the policy looks like, what news comes out after that. That's trying to line up with the algo here, but that's what I'm seeing for AMC right now. Looks really good. All the price levels, guys, real quick, stay intact for me. Nothing has changed. When you see these, I mean, look at the commotion going on here. All the resistance here. This is pretty much it. I feel like when you get past this 555 and you hold it steady, everything else, guys, is going to be completely gaps, right? Complete gaps to the upside, I feel like. $12 right here from the previous resistance where it broke down and then rode this. That's what I see is doing. And then, guys, I've already showed you this. This has all remained steady. I mean, you have the gap fill right here. Like, look at this ginormous gap here when it dropped down. I think that you would gap from this to even that, right? 12 to 19. Maybe there's a slight pullback, some consolidation, right? Some cooling off, depending on how it wants to run. And then you have another gap up here to be filled at $42. It's a huge split right here. So all these levels, guys, it's lined up for this to start booming really quickly, too. This is not designed in a way where, in my opinion, it needs to really slowly step up this. Like, you had all this happen very quickly. There was not much structure built in here. And again, there's huge gaps in this, right? That this stock can just zip right up to. That's my opinion. All right. So I'm looking at just the top of the cliff where this all broke down. Okay. I'm going to go to $43, we'll say, maybe even up here to 55. After that, guys, we're in Mars. Okay. After that, guys, when you work your way down from all this bullshit and you get up to here, we are in another fucking dimension, all right, when it comes to the price action. I'm telling you right now. I mean, because look at this right here. You start getting huge fucking jumps. I mean, you start going to, 54 to like, 75 if you're talking about big peaks. Then 75, you get a nice little bump, little $5 bump, 80. Then you go up to 94, 147. It just keeps popping up, right? And there's little levels in between this, like in here, right, underneath. But I'm telling you right now, with the way that this has been set, it's almost to me like I'm looking at the EMA. I'm almost looking at the EMA, the 200, as like the quantitative tightening cycle, being that like it's in relation to why it's been not able to break out, because it's not supposed to yet. It's too high risk, I feel like, to break out. And people are gonna be like kind of confused by that statement, but I'm just telling you right now, it's like this blanket here. I almost feel like it's a culmination of all the things that they have set in stone policy wise that has just compressed this down for a lot of them, for all of them, the small cap ones. And again, even things like Bitcoin and Doge and the crypto market, like you're gonna see all that stuff go crazy. All right. So It's just interesting, that blanket right there. Just we're waiting to break the 200. Once we get above it and then hold it, I'm not saying break it up here and then fucking fall back underneath. I'm saying I want to see a continuation above this 200 EMA. And we're in position to do it. It's 3, what the hell is it at? 315? Is that even correct? Hold on a second. Let me pull this open even further. 314 is the 200 EMA. That's it. So those are the levels for AMC. That's the structure. That's the breakdown. That's everything you guys need to know from an AMC perspective. I'm going to go over the rest of them now because I know this is going to be pretty drawn out video with everything going on. But GME real quick. I mean, again, you can see the gaps in the space right here. I had the pennant drawn from the low here all the way up to C. Let's just see if this continues to the upside. And of course, you broke it right here. Came down with this ginormous gap fill to the downside. Then came over here, consolidated, touched the trend line, bounced off of it, filled the gap here, then broke down again, then tried to pop out right here. Let me zoom in. Tried to break out, couldn't do it, fell underneath, all right? And essentially hit this bottom here. I think I had this drawn out on the weekly, but basically we bounced here now. So 1993, and look at the space that we have in here. We can pretty much close this off, I guess. But essentially I would want to get back in this wedge. So maybe I won't close it off. But I want to see if we can get back into this pennant, because in 2021 I believe I saw it where it kind of looped like this. Especially AMC did a very similar pattern. It kind of looped under the pennant and then broke through like this straight to the upside. So if we can get back in there, we're bouncing in here. If not, which I think this would be crazy, but I don't see us like staying all the way out here into to June 2026. I think this is going to break back inside the pennant, and you're going to start getting these moves inside of these zones that I talked about in the prior videos. Is you'll get back in here, pop through this resistance, come up here, maybe dance around and pop out again briefly, and then just ripping through these levels. That would be slow speed. If you get this, forget everything I said. These are just the resistances here. But if you get something like this, guys, forget about it. It's off, to the races, just like I showed you with AMC. But positionally, you could just see all the resistance, everything it has to work through. Okay, anybody has a different opinion, like I said, drop a comment down below and I'll take a look at it. But from what I'm drawing out here on all the levels, this is what I'm seeing. All right. But even like EMA wise, look at this shit. I mean, GME is even more compressed. It's stupid. It is the grandfather of the meme stock party here. Like this thing is ready to explode. You can see now the 9 EMA that I have here crossing over, and you're starting to get this uptrend built. I want to just see that continuation, and I want to keep seeing EMAs cross each other to the upside. When you have that happen, you're going to get explosive price action. And again, the timing of the policy changes is all matching this, okay? Structures lining up with the policy changes, right? Very bullish stuff. So this could happen real quick. This could rubber band snap right through all of this shit, okay? And we're having a different conversation, right? This could happen very, very quickly. We've already seen it before. We already know how they move. But I like the setup with the EMAs. It is perfect. I mean, it is absolutely perfect. And GME actually broke above the median here, the pivot point line, and is now coming up to R1. You see how it rejected down. We had to see how it moves through this. But again, look at this R2 and 3. That puts you back in the pennant, back in this wedge to break the next resistances to the upside here, okay? Again, just like I said with AMC, though, there could be a flash drop down and then V-shape quickly back up, right? Quick discount, they get the pile in, and then boom, to the upside we go. So still pay attention to that, but nonetheless, everything looks structurally intact for me on GME as well. It looks very, very good. Real quick, I guess we could take a look at the Russell IWM. This is our basket, ginormous ascending triangle pennant. Right here developing. You got to bounce down here off this level, and it just been continuously pushing to the upside. I do think once we break this, I mean, yeah, that's probably the indicator that we are going to see all the new squeezes happening, right? We're going to see all the, small caps just start exploding, right? This is the basket. It would only make sense, right? If the fucking IWM's going up, all the plays that I'm talking about are going to also explode with it. And I do think it's going to be pretty violent when this thing breaks out to the upside anyways. Okay, so that looks good. All trending in the right direction. When we look at NIO, this one is very freaky. I mean, this one is just nuts how compressed. It's very similar to AMC and GME, the chart. And it actually happened before the 2021 squeezes, okay, with AMC and GME. This one's already on its way doing this, okay? And when you look at this point here that I have drawn up and how it's just ridden under this resistance, it kind of reminds me the same. I mean, obviously this is way longer of a resistance than AMC is, but it just can't break this resistance until recently, right? It stayed under this forever. And then people were like, this is going bankrupt. It hit 302 and they thought it was over. And then here I am just like, I don't see it. I just see this getting more and more pinched down. It finally broke out and has now formed this new uptrend. You see like it has been bouncing through these levels and testing. Lastly, getting up to $8, okay? Getting up to $8 if we use the wick, it's 801. Funny how 801 comes about again. Oh my gosh, it's like an omen. But here is the breakdown. So now you have NIO potentially coming down to, hell, 436. Maybe it touches this line and then continues to excel out of here. So the speed in which these are going to move, guys, that's, again, going to depend on what they're doing in the market and what's going to happen with these rotations, with the QT. Now, like I said, the news in the beginning I shared with you, it's all going to just depend on how rapidly they move on that, right? But it's still in position to just start attacking these levels at any given moment. And again, I told you the same situation applies, that when NIO breaks these bottom lower levels, guys, it is just straight gaps, right? Like, look at what you have here with this drop off. I mean, it's just going to be a continuation to the upside. I'm going to see a repeat just like this, I think. In my head, how this is planning out, and watch this. From afar, you look at this structure. Here's the first part, right? This is the first fractal of this playing out in the very beginning since IPO and hitting this all-time bottom. If you look, this is a much, much larger pattern, right? Much bigger structure compared to this, which means that this move, I think, is going to be much larger than even this move. I know it's insane, but I mean, you got this move out of the structure down here, okay? So when I look at it from this angle, you see the structure, right, playing out almost similar. Like, look at right here. You see this loop here? When you go over here, I almost feel like this is playing out like this right now. All right? I almost feel like we're playing this out, right? So if you see what happens after this move here in the sequence, yeah, you get a little stuttering right here. And it kind of goes on for what? A couple months, right? And then there's just massive upside all the way through the year. Okay, so that's what I'm seeing for NIO. It looks incredibly good. You know, like I said, speed-wise, it's going to depend. It may not be that slow like it was pre-2021 during that cycle. It might end up just booming straight up. It's just going to depend on what the hell's going on in the world, I guess, right? But we do have it mapped out in front of us. The speed, though, is to be determined until we see something snap. Until we see this massive breakout of these levels, that's pretty much the signal for me. That's what I'm trying to explain here. EMA wise, again, guys, every single one that I'm covering, all of this is in line where it needs to be. Look at the comparison. Look, it's here, right? Here's our bands, almost positionally the same, right? Bigger structure. But when you look at these, if we were to basically do a percentage spacing between these, very, very identical back to the 2019-2020 cycle for NIO. Very similar. And you have the hook here, just like you do here. And look at where it's hooking through. Same EMA position, guys, right? I really don't need to keep going any further with this one. I just don't. I mean, it's self-explanatory at this point. If you don't see it, then I don't know what to tell you. And then again, yes, you're seeing the pivot point lines all mapped out here, where this could get a breakdown. Guys, I wouldn't even be surprised. Like, anything is possible. We could see new all-time lows. We could see this thing come back down. I mean, we can't go negative, but we could see this thing come back down to, you know, S1 and then just absolutely explode. It's just the style and the pattern and the structure, how it's going to look, doesn't mean it's going to be identical to how it was before. It could just start ripping, right, to the upside very quickly. And you have the history behind it too, from a structure standpoint. So it already kind of knows where to go. But that's it for NIO. Very, very good. That one is incredibly positioned. You look at RIVN. This one I'm so excited about because RIVN and Unity seem to be on like a different track, like much faster than the rest of them. But that doesn't mean the other ones won't catch up. But I like when I look at RIVN, this is on the weekly, you can see this wedge that it's broken out of here. And what I like to see is this test right here. It actually tested the top of it and is now, look at these 2 weekly candles back to back. Beautiful setup. We go into the daily and we look at it, and you get a much clearer picture of what this is doing right now. Just bouncing around in between this all the way down to the finest apex point, essentially, right, for what it could do. And this thing explodes right out. Perfect setup, man. Perfect setup. You get rejected, come all the way down. We test the top of this thing. And then it's just look at the freaking wick on this thing. The violent recovery right off of it. Just saying. I mean, it's pretty much fulfilled from like a Wyckoff theory standpoint. If you follow Wyckoff with these breakouts, it pretty much did what it needed to do. It came down, tested it. It's now driving upwards. And look at the resistances that I have. 1893, we're talking like $1. Past that, guys, there's not much here. Like, I guess this tiny gap fill back here to 23 bucks, but big levels wise, what I see this going to is $25 next, essentially $24.62. If you can get past this 1893, hold it. You're going to start seeing large swings, okay? And then when it does hit the resistance, we got to see if it continues or if it rejects here. If it rejects, you probably go all the way back down to, 19 bucks ish, and then bounce here with this becoming a support. Just saying, since I've been covering this stuff, man, I've just been seeing this trending up and up and up. And finally, we're getting out of this massive pennant here that we're breaking out of, right? So looks very good. There's not much here. From what I can see, just roughly looks extremely good when we get past this. I mean, just a ginormous gap. So EMA-wise, above the EMAs. Look at RIVN on the EMA situation here, man. This looks so good. I mean, it already broke above its 200. Like, what else can we say? What else can we say other than this is now in the full-on reversal point? RIVN is going to continue uptrending. That's my thesis. I don't see RIVN breaking back down to a new all-time low. If I'm wrong, I'll die on that hill. I don't care. But look at this. I mean, technical setup-wise, it's perfect. And this is kind of what I'm trying to tell you with AMC and GME that I want to see. I think GME is trading just above all of its EMAs. But when you start getting these swings and the strength now, I want to just see this now for AMC. Because AMC obviously is still trapped just under by like what? $1. So I want to see the same setup. Once you see this, that's when you guys know that the reversal point's happening. Doesn't mean it's going to squeeze like straight to the moon, but it's going to show you that the downside is pretty much done. Like the macro downside is finished, right? When you see the setup like this is in position to continue going. Not much more to explain with the RIVN situation. I went over the SPY. I got Dogecoin back here I got to go to, but Unity, I mean, look at this. What more can I say with this one? Other than go back and look at my videos when I told you we break this giant resistance here, all this commotion, right? It's just very stacked and condensed here. Like look how it's fighting to get out of here. Down here, couldn't get out, finally broke out, got rejected back under, then came under this resistance here. Downtrend, new low, slowly trickling its way back up. Inside, breaks this resistance, shoots straight up here, right back to where it was, rejects again, but holds the uptrend. And now is starting to break these levels here at this 45-ish level, okay? Now you're seeing Unity start to creep in here. If we see Unity break this, if you go back in my last videos, I said, guys, when you get out of this goddamn box, I'll fucking draw it up for you again. I said, this rectangle right here, this is your box. Oh shit. You've got to break this, okay? Look at this thing. Look at the consolidation happening in here, and it's massive consolidation because, I mean, look at it in here. You know, $13 all the way up to the top of that is 58 bucks. So in this box from $14 to 58 bucks, you have been trapped inside of here. When you break above it, it is off to the races. That's what I'm seeing. There's nothing here to hold it back. And the market is now in line with a company like Unity to start booming, okay? It ain't going to take much. It could be a partnership with NVIDIA. It could be fucking AI tools integrated with their engine, which they probably already have that. I'm just speculating now. but it doesn't matter. They're going to have some reason, some catalyst that's already predetermined in front of this box here for this to continue riding up to probably new all-time highs. That's just my opinion. But this stage is being set up for it. You're seeing the resistance bands right here. This last 3 levels, when it breaks out of this, I see a huge gap. I see a huge run for Unity going up to $109. I'm going to say it again, $109 right here with this waterfall cliff. There's nothing here. The resistance is very weak for this, right? It's right here. That is the problem, right? These levels in here, it just could not break out of it. Now that we're back up to the upside and we have the coin sort of flipping in our favor, that's what I'm seeing for Unity. Looks very good. I want to look at the EMA bands, perfectly positioned. Once again, I cannot make this stuff up, all right? Absolutely critical stuff that we're seeing here. It's above all of them. Even on the daily, let me see the daily. Look at this. Price action's riding far above the 200 and even the 255, right? Which at this point is, whatever. Just a little extra juice there to see how strong this is. But that's what we're seeing, man. This thing is ripping to the upside, and it's going for these levels. It's fucking coming for it. I'm telling you. And I think, and in the rejection sense, it works the same way. If you see it breaking above these levels and then rejecting, well, it's probably going to use that now as a support. That's just the uptrend that I'm seeing overall. And again, the trajectory is, I mean, look at it. Look at the way that this is moving. I mean, it sells itself, guys. I don't have to say much more about it. But that's what I'm seeing across the board. Everything now is on the turning point, okay? We're just waiting for the rest of the pieces to fall into place. That's really it. Everything on the channel, guys, that I've been covering, Dogecoin too. The crypto market is obviously a little more strange in the way it functions, but it's still a high risk moves is how I see it. Like I do see these kind of moves playing out again. And this is just how ugly the chart is. Like if you just look how ugly the setup is, like look at this thing. I mean, huge consolidation down here, and then a big boom, and then a ginormous rip. It's like a 2-parter right here. Huge breakdown. Again, if we were to space this out, consolidation happening right in here. And now you are on the point where you're going to get another big boom breakout, which I do think a move like this is going to take this out of this range. If you do get a 2-part like this again. If not, you're repeating this shit. Straight massive pumps coming for Dogecoin, which again, $1. My target remains intact. But this looks very, very good. I mean, you had some crazy breakdowns. You had the fucking like 50% crash real quick and then recovered out. Still downtrending on it, but nonetheless, guys, it's holding this bottom right here. I'm going to be paying attention to this because you now have 1, 2, 3, 4 touches on this support right here. When this thing reverses, I think it's going to get really nasty to the upside. And again, the policy I just shared with you also benefits the crypto market. So all this, man, is set up really, really to boom. Everything that I covered today, really in line. Very frustrating, but that's by design. It's designed to piss you off, to fucking make you sell here while they're all going to load up. And then by the time you try to react, this thing's already going to be, in your head, it's going to be such a risk again that you might just sit on the sideline and watch this play out again. Okay, while everyone's making money. So, pay attention to what your options are. You got to dose yourself with the information overload, right? With everything. I probably did it enough for you today. But day to day, guys, we're not seeing anything. The news don't matter. Fuck Michael Burry. I don't care about what he says. It's all part of this ginormous sequence playing out, this pattern, okay? They're just little pieces of it. But day in and day out, expecting the breakout, I'm not doing that until I see the very first move of it. When I see that first move, I'm gonna know. Okay, and I think you guys obviously are, because if you've been following me, you know what I've been looking for here. You know what I've been looking for from all the indicator standpoints and levels. Okay, you know it. So I just want you to keep that in mind. All right, because we're chilling right now until we see that. We're at the very end of this though. I know people have been saying that shit probably to you, but like when I'm seeing it here, I mean, with the policy and everything lined up for 2026, like it should just, for me, I hope, be a bullish year where we see continuous uptrends for all the small caps, right? Where we can see those steady gains. You might even see, like I said, violent squeezes that happen very quick. If it's happened during QT, then what do you think's going to happen when QT now is ended, right? We actually did see a couple examples of squeezes happening during the QT, but when all this is stripped away now, this resistance is stripped away, and there's nothing holding these back, what do you think is going to happen? All right. Just stay tuned, guys. I'll keep you up to date. I'm going to be paying attention. And if you have to come back to this video, watch it again. If you feel like you're kind of like losing hope or something, come back to the video. Just remind yourself what we're looking for. All right. Everything else is just noise until we see that first move. Right. I appreciate you guys stopping by today. Spending some time with me, because I mean, I took quite a long time with this video. It's up there. So nonetheless, though, like I said, draw this out if you have to. Drop some comments down below if you have any other questions, guys. If you have any other tickers you want me to cover. I haven't really been doing any live streams like that, but I don't know if there's an absolute overwhelming request for me to do it, I'll do it. But this is everything I got for you today. So be safe out there. Enjoy your holidays. All right. We got a crazy year coming. All right. Truly believe that. So I'm hoping that that means everybody sees the fruits of their labor paying off. All right. I'll see you guys in the next video. Everybody take care of yourselves out there. Alrighty.